Time now for the exchange. Joining us is Maria Cardona, CNN political commentator and Democratic strategist. Maria, always good to see you. We've spent quite a bit of time talking about concerns among the Harris campaign as to attracting more black voters. Let's expand that and let's talk about Latino voters as well, because this is also proven to be an area of concern. A new New York Times poll over the weekend compared 2016 results where Latino voters supported Democrats 68% to what the estimates are right now in the most recent October poll, and that is 56% support among Latinos. And one of the questions asked of voters this weekend is that the escalating attacks on immigrants has not driven away Latino voters from Trump to Harris. In fact, 2/3 of those surveyed said they believe Trump was not referring to people like them when he spoke of immigrants. How is the Democratic Party, and more specifically the Kamala Harris campaign, addressing this issue?
I'm so glad we're talking about this, Bianna and Zane, because it's such an important issue. And I will start by saying that Democrats should be worried, because that's the only way that we're going to win, to make sure that we take nothing for granted, to make sure that we leave nothing, no effort on the table. And that's exactly what's happening with the vice president's campaign right now. I do have to level set, though, Bianna and Zane, with the New York Times Siena poll numbers and take those as just one of many, many polls that are coming out about Latino voters. There was a CBS poll that came out that had a larger sample size that had Kamala Harris at 63% with Latino voters and had Donald Trump at 35% with Latino voters. That is exactly similar to, actually a little bit higher than what Joe Biden had and won with in 2020, which are the numbers that we need to really compare them to. And more so, and I think more importantly, if you have sample sizes that are even larger, Voto Latino, Univision, the Hispanic Federation, several other sets of polls that actually know how to poll the Latino community using bilingual pollsters with a much more robust sample size show the same thing that CBS poll had, which is that the vice president is in the low to mid 60s with Latino voters, which is what she needs to win. And Donald Trump is at his ceiling, which is in the low to mid 30s. That doesn't mean that we need to spike the football. There is obviously a lot of work to be done. The Latino vote, I have always said to my party, should not be looked at as a base vote. They should be looked at as a swing vote. We are not a monolith by any stretch of the imagination, but there's no question that the vast majority of them view the vice president as the candidate who is in this race that will fight for them every single day, that will fight to expand the economic opportunity for working class and middle class voters, and that will fight to honor the value a real common sense solution to the immigration problem, which means strong border security, but it also means expanding legal pathways for the undocumented immigrants that have been here for years, contributing to our economy.
Yeah, but still, as you point out, it is important not to take this voting bloc for granted. I do want to talk about Kamala Harris's interview on Wednesday with Fox News, right? Not exactly a friendly outlet for her. And, you know, let's be honest about Kamala Harris in terms of her performance in interviews. I mean, I would say that she does fine, right? It's a solid B, right? I would give her. What does she need to do differently? Because there's only there's 3 weeks until the election. There's only going to be a few more opportunities, a handful of more opportunities in terms of being able to change things and change people's minds. What does she need to do on Wednesday, do you think?
Well, I disagree with you a little bit, Zane, on that grade. I would give her an A, maybe an A minus, because there's always room for improvement. But I think she's doing really well. I think she comes through as authentic. She comes through as somebody who is really thoughtful. She comes through as somebody who is, frankly, the person who is there that is going to fight for most Americans every single day. And in fact, you know, if you do want to look at the New York Times poll, there are some numbers there that are really good for the vice president, because they indicate that she is now the candidate that is seen by the majority of voters as the candidate that represents change. She is the candidate that is seen by the vast majority of voters as a candidate who is going to fight for people like me. She has also really closed the gap and is almost even on issues like the economy and immigration. So on every single platform, and I am so thrilled that she is doing everything now. She's doing a media blitz. She's doing traditional media, non-traditional media, friendly media, not so friendly media, podcasts, digital. She's doing everything, Zane. And I think that's exactly what she needs to do, because she's not taking anything for granted, and she is fighting for every single vote, in contrast with Donald Trump, who is dark and more demented and more dysfunctional, and talks about a dystopian, a broken country. He talks down and insults
Good
American
alliteration
cities.
there.
Right,
Your
exactly.
alliteration.
Right. And so I don't think that that's what Americans are looking for. Americans are looking for somebody who see this country where our better days are before us, and what are they going to do to fight for those communities and to make sure that everyone has a say and is going to take part in those better days.
So those dark dystopian speeches, language that you just described, the former president is using, sometimes just downright racist, as some of this polling suggests among Latino voters, this isn't turning them off as much as one would expect. If you add to that the limited time window now that the Harris campaign has to turn things around, I know you gave her an A, perhaps you were grading on a curve, Maria, but we did see a shift over the weekend where we saw a more forceful Kamala Harris come out and address Donald Trump's age, the fact that he's not releasing his medical reports, that he will not have another debate, agree to another debate with her. She's calling him weak. Do you think this is a more effective strategy, and should we be seeing more of this in the last weeks before the election?
I do think it's an effective strategy, Bianna, because in her fight for Latino voters and black voters, especially the men that we are seeing, right? That's where a lot of these polls are saying she needs to shore up her support. They do perhaps see Donald Trump as somebody that has a show of strength. So the more that she comes out to underscore that actually his dystopian, dysfunctional dementia is proof of his weakness, that the fact that he will not release his medical records, that he won't debate her, that he has said no to the 60 Minutes interview, he said no to the CNN town hall. What is he afraid of? To me, he is afraid of her, because she represents something that has always been political kryptonite for Donald Trump. A strong woman, a woman of color who is black and of Asian descent, a daughter of immigrants who can speak to the values that we hold so dear in this country. And I think that's going to be a very valuable contrast that she needs to continue to articulate from now until Election Day.
Maria Cardona, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so
we
much,
appreciate
both
it.
of you.
We'll be back.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.